And Diane, are you here to speak or to crew or coach? Could you get on to? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
It's going to be the easy one.
Well, hello, and welcome to this first installment of a weekly series called Open Mic. We're spelling it M-I-C. We're pronouncing it mic as in microphone. My name's Randy Ammon. I am Executive Director down here at MCAT, Missoula Community Access Television. And MCAT is a First Amendment forum, in essence. It's a community cable television channel where the equipment, the channel time, and the training on all the equipment and facilities are available to every individual and organization here in Missoula to speak their mind, to produce programming, to get their message out. This particular program series, starting off this Monday, January 27th, 1997, as a 20-minute live program, is open to voices throughout the community. If you have something to say, here's an easy way to get involved with MCAT and say it. Every Monday night at 6:30 p.m., we'll open this mic, fire up the cameras, and let people talk. Well, let's see. What can we say? We're currently one day following the Super Bowl. Nice Green Bay Packers victory. Our camera person has some nice Packer colors on. On MCAT, just looking at our program schedule, there are 20 locally produced weekly program series. That's quite a bit for a community our size. There are also an additional 10 either alternate week or monthly series, again locally produced, and at least 9 or 10 imported series that run again either on a weekly basis or at least once a month. We're programming, well, the community is programming nearly 9 hours average per day here on MCAT. The community is making good use of this forum. I wanted to real briefly talk about just a couple of special programs coming this week. Then I'm going to turn this mic over to our next speaker, who I see is McCarthy Coyle. And McCarthy really got the idea going for this series. So let me just say a couple more things, then I'll be gone. There's a program called Buzzy and Charlie, Tying Flies with the Fish Guy. It did run earlier today, Monday, but it runs again Tuesday, January 28th at 6:30 p.m. Buzzy and Charlie, Tying Flies with the Fish Guy. That's Les Rutledge and company. There's a program premiering Tuesday night at 10:30 p.m. titled Chocolate Kisses, a fictional humorous look at what is love through a teenager's eyes, and viewer discretion is recommended. The program runs at 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday. The replay of this open mic show this week is going to run Wednesday at 12:30 p.m., but if we're referring to things happening today or Tuesday, we're talking about Monday, January 27th or Tuesday, January 28th. Another program premiere this week, The Salvage Controversy, Wednesday at 9:30 p.m., replayed Thursday of this week at 4 o'clock p.m. It's a debate of the salvage logging rider produced by Kristen Malone and Jennifer Sigmund. And there's a new series, a series premiering Thursday night at 9 p.m., called Under the Copper Dome, a public conversation, a legislative overview with McCarthy Coyle. And speaking of McCarthy Coyle, come on in here, Mac. It's your mic.
Thanks, Randy. Well, I was up at the legislature this weekend, so I'm not in the best of moods. I see where much attention is now focused on censorship issues in the state legislature in Montana. It's really nothing new, but I have a series of questions that I would like to pose about things like censorship. I mean, these things come up. They were concerned about a play that the Montana Repertory Theater had put on. Some legislators were upset. But I think that we have to confront the issue of censorship statewide. That is to say, why does Montana Public Television itself censor national PBS programming? Why does the university system censor programming? Why does Montana Public Radio stifle information and viewpoints about telecommunications policy? And I wonder if I will ever see the day, I rather doubt it, when the University of Montana Television School honors the terms of its contract with the federal government, by which it obtained well over $100,000 worth of television equipment, receiving a special preference to get that grant so that it would be producing programming with, for, by, and about women and Native Americans. Now, why hasn't the print press or the electronic media reported the details of the illegal land deals made by the regents? We have an attorney general, McGrath, who said that, in fact, there was some bad deals made over the years, but I have yet to read any details about what the illegal land deals are. What are they? Who's going to come up with the information? Now, how does the telecommunications industry, this is something I picked up when I was up in Helena. 2 years ago, the legislature passed a law setting up the governor's blue ribbon task force on telecommunications. Now we have a booklet called Connecting Montana to the World. And the private sector telecommunications industry contributed, quote, $75,000 to this task force's work. And, of course, they get to help draft the legislation. Do I get to sit in and help draft the legislation? No, because I don't have $75,000 to contribute, I guess. And with all the hoopla about the inauguration of public television in Missoula, why is it that the University of Montana has not taken advantage of their electronic setup by which they have a head end and a channel on the cable system? When the city of Missoula wrote the franchise, they reserved a channel specifically for education, and yet after 5 years we don't see any classes coming over the wire, we don't see any theater events. And I think it's a real waste of money, and it's a real sadness that the community of Missoula cannot benefit from classes coming over the cable system. And why is there no regularly scheduled Indian programming on commercial radio and television in Missoula? I'm delighted to see recently that more than 10 University of Montana students were able to make use of the MCAT facilities and receive training and be able to use the editing facilities for projects that they were working on at their university classes. I just find it unfortunate that they were unable to find the resources that they needed at the university, but I was delighted that the city of Missoula, through this facility, was able to provide them with the tools they needed to make programs. So there you go there. And there's, I have an ethical problem with, on the CNN headline news channel, you'll see a correspondent from Helena, Bob Gilbert, and he appears on the CNN headline news channel over the TCI system at the top of the hour and at the bottom of the hour, meaning right just before the hour and right around the half hour. And he interviews legislators. And, I don't know the guy. He seems very pleasant. The interviews that he does are certainly seem harmless enough. But I think that if you're going to be appearing on a news channel, you need to be identified as a lobbyist if you are. And Bob Gilbert is a lobbyist, and I think it's abusive of the television viewer if they're watching a news channel and they see an individual on there who's sponsored by TCI, but he's not identified as a lobbyist. I think that's an ethical problem. And finally, on the national level, I notice, like on the CBS Evening Network News, I'm very glad that CBS, like other major networks, has closed captioning for the hearing impaired. But I was very surprised to also notice recently that this was paid for. I don't know how much, and I don't know whether partially or in full, but that this closed captioning on the CBS Evening News was paid for by you and I, by the Department of Education, with U.S. tax dollars. So I'm saying to myself, this is a little bit more than annoying to me. I think that CBS makes enough money to pay for its own closed captioning. After all, if commercial advertisers are adding closed captioning to their advertisements, then there must be a sufficient marketplace there for them to want to spend the money to do the closed captioning to attract that hearing impaired audience. So if the private sector is willing to spend the money, then why isn't CBS coughing it up? Why is the federal government paying for a responsibility that should be met by CBS itself? And finally, it's easy to see that nobody's safe when the legislature's in session. I wonder when there will ever be a session when the First Amendment is not under attack. As a writer, as a speaker, as a playwright, as a journalist, I find it shocking that they should once again be at my tongue. They want to cut us off at the pass. And you know what? It gets my dander up. And I think it should get everybody's dander up. And that's it. Those are my questions for tonight. And I appreciate this opportunity, and I encourage everyone in town to come down and take advantage of this opportunity to speak up and speak out. And I think we have another speaker coming up. Andy, are you there?
Thanks a lot, Mac. I'm just here to tell you a little about all of the play production that's going on around town. Well, at least at the University of Montana. First, Our Country's Good is on March 11th through the 15th and 25th through the 29th, and that's going to be in the Masker Theater on campus at the University of Montana. And also, A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is what I'm looking forward to, is on April 15th through the 19th and 22nd through the 26th. All shows are at 7:30, and I encourage everybody to try to make it because they're going to be really good shows, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks.
And let's see, this is Randy Ammon again here. Only because of a lack of public speakers coming in, we haven't done much to publicize this open microphone program yet, but we will. If you are watching on Monday, we are live, Monday, January 27th, and we encourage you to stay tuned to MCAT for the Missoula City Council meeting. Every Monday night, except for holidays and the fifth Monday of the month, the Missoula City Council holds their regular meeting at City Hall, right down the street from us. That's at Ryman and Spruce Streets. Those meetings go out live on MCAT. The coverage starts at 6:50 p.m. and runs until the final gavel comes down. live city council meetings. They're also replayed then on Tuesdays starting at 12 noon. If you're watching this program and it's Wednesday, let's see, the next program coming on here will be a program on missing children called Give 'Em Back, a series brought in by a local organization, basically an electronic milk carton, pictures of kids who are missing. Some other things here, let's see, before our next live open mic program, we have plenty of all sorts of programs. I hesitate to start mentioning some because we can't cover them all. Our Sunday night lineup, though, this particular Sunday being Groundhog Day, a holiday that's close to my heart. Sundays, usually we start with a program called Destination Relaxation. That's at 5 p.m. Short features at 5:15 p.m. The Missoula Catholic Community Sunday Mass is at 5:30 p.m. on Sundays. Verses of the Nightingale at 6:30 p.m. That's readings of the Baha'i writings, various music and children's plays. Mind Your Own Business, a series offering practical advice on how to start and run your own business, produced by Jay Wagner, is Sunday at 7 p.m. Missoula Televised Tennis, produced by Steve Schwartz and the Missoula Tennis Association. Is that right? Missoula Tennis Club runs Sunday nights at 7:30 p.m. And Game of the Week is a series of high school basketball games produced by Stacy Edwards. That starts every Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. We're closing in on the end of this particular forum. Again, just a reminder that every Monday night, hopefully every Monday night at 6:30 p.m., you're invited to come down here to the MCAT facility. We're located at Spruce and Higgins, and the most direct way to get to the MCAT studio is to come in the Spruce Street ramp. There's a green MCAT awning. We're cat corner from Warden's Market and across the street from the dry cleaners. So come on in Mondays starting at 6:30 p.m. to speak your voice. If you'd like to get fully involved with MCAT and train on the production equipment we have here, the editing equipment, the studio, give us a call at 542-MCAT and we'll sign you up for the next workshop. We offer full orientations and basic Portapack workshops at least once a month, and more so upon request. Does anyone have other things to add at this point? Diane, anything about the Packers you'd like to say? Good game. Good game. Well, thank you. We're going to sign off here. Stay tuned for the Missoula City Council meeting live on Missoula Community Access Television, your community TV channel.
Hi, my name is McCarthy Coyle, and I'm speaking to you from one of the finest public access community television stations in the country, Missoula Community Access Television. This is the second week of our brand new show, which is an open forum called Open Mic. It's open to anybody, 6:30 Monday night. You're welcome to come on down and exercise your First Amendment rights. And I'll be back to exercise a few more of my rights in that regard. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring on Mary Canty of the MCAT staff, who has a couple of things that she'd like to share with you. Mary?
Thanks, McCarthy, and good evening to Missoulians everywhere this day, Monday, the 3rd of February. I'm down here at the MCAT studios. I'm speaking to you live this evening, and I have the joy to speak to you about a program that's been operating out of MCAT now for well over 3 years, and that's the Montana Media Arts and Education Project. And one of the things that we thought about as we developed this project was the free speech rights of youth in our community. And we wanted them to be able to use the medium of television as well as use their own high school newspapers in order to express themselves and in order to develop their ideas. So what we did was, in cooperation with the Montana Arts Council, Missoula County Public Schools, and the state legislature, which provided some of the seed money, we put together a program where we could provide a media artist in the schools. And in doing so, we have a way to combine the creative arts with the medium of television and keep the focus on the student voice here in Missoula. Well, it's been a smashing success. In the last year, Missoula High School student producers received awards from Cable News Network, the 20th Annual Film and Video Festival, the National Student Media Arts Festival, the 1996 Montana Young Audiences Media Festival, and the Best of the Northwest Video Festival. In an unprecedented move, the Montana Arts Council asked media artist Gwen Hoppy and myself to take a little bit of extra grant money and to do some in-service teacher training. Well, that idea has mushroomed into a new show on MCAT called Teachers on TV, which is a live call-in show produced by Missoula County Public School teachers. The next Teachers on TV is February 20th, which is a Thursday at 7 p.m. You're welcome to call in, and you're welcome as a student in the Missoula area public high schools to participate in the media arts project we have going. So I'm here tonight to invite you to do that. Our current media artists are Rick Phillips and Joel Baird, and they are accomplished media and video artists in their own right, and they are helping me and some folks out at Big Sky High School to put together the Room 77 video studio that's going to be out at Big Sky High School. Again, I'm proud that that studio will be housed in the Fine Arts Department of Big Sky High School, and certainly we have the cooperation of TCI, and again, MCAT and a lot of other people are involved in helping to pull this off. In this year, we received funding to run the program through the spring of 1999, or where are we now? 1999, yeah. So we have a couple more years of funding, and again, it's a combined effort of many, many people, and I think I just wanted to step forward tonight and explain to you all some of the things that we have to be really proud of in this community in terms of cooperation and service to youth. So if you're out there tonight listening and you're a Missoula County Public School student or teacher or administrator and you want to be involved in MCAT, there's several different ways that we can help you to do that. So I want to thank you for your time, and we have another speaker from the public this evening, and I'm going to turn the mic over to them.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks for your good work on that artist program. Next up is a gentleman I've never met, but I've seen some of his trenchant letters to the editor of the Missoulian over the years, and I saw one of his most recent letters, and I said, well, we're trying to generate you folks to come on down on Monday night so that we turn this into a daily event. So I called up Mr. Don Scott and asked him if he'd come down and share this latest letter with us. So please join us. Thanks a lot for coming down.
Thank you. Well, there's always two sides to the coin, and I sometimes feel that the press doesn't give us both sides of the coin, and this is probably the reason that I write letters to the editor. I'm like the smart kid in the class that has to, speak his mind. I always have something to say. Anyway, there was an article in the paper a few days ago about Madeleine Albright, and it didn't really say a lot about her. Just general statements that she made, one that she intended to be derogatory about Castro and Cuba, and I don't think she knows very much about the country anyway, and Cuba's getting a bad rap from our press. The world, for the most part, does not approve of our embargo in Cuba, and They have said so, and they say it in the UN overwhelmingly. So anyway, I wrote this letter to the editor. I see by this morning's paper that Madeleine Albright, our new Secretary of State, is hitting the floor running. In place? I'm not impressed with this lady since her public remarks concerning the children starving in Iraq because of our embargo. Someone protested that maybe the embargo was creating too much hardship on the children since they were actually starving. She replied in effect, tough beans. That's the way we bring Saddam around. She didn't give the impression that she was very concerned about the children. Maybe we should be glad that she is no longer with the UN. She remarked that Fidel Castro is a 1950-style dictator, which only tells me that she doesn't like him. Well, since Castro took over, Cuba now has a complete health care, always has since he took over, one of the finest medical schools in the country, in the Caribbean. Maybe the reason the Congress, and it has one of the highest standards of living of any country in the Caribbean and Central America. Maybe the reason the Congress of the US of A is so ticked off at Castro that he ran the mafia out, which closed down the gambling and the organized prostitution, and Meyer Lansky, the treasury of the mafia, left behind a brand new multi-storied bank building which Castro converted into a very fine medical school. The United States doesn't always tell the complete truth. Castro offered to buy the American businesses at the value that the businesses had declared that they were worth for tax purposes. Of course, that was way too low for the businessmen, so they left their investments behind. The Cubans who fled for the most part were the very rich. At the time of the revolution, gambling and prostitution was flourishing. Guess who profited? The hookers? Guess again. Also, the only medical care for the people was in the major cities. Can you imagine bringing your sick children 200 or 300 miles for medical care? Batista's remedy for the poor was to kill them off, which he did to the tune of 30,000 people or more. Albright is going to make a whirlwind trip around the world in February in a little less than a week. Presumably she will meet with the heads of state and they will tell her that everything is hunky-dory and there's no child labor or child prostitution or genocide as in Indonesia, and she will come home and tell Mr. President that we will make more money if we keep our mouths shut about China, Burma, Thailand, and Indonesia. It will be business as usual here at home, and we will continue to have a hard time finding clothing that is manufactured in the United States. Now, I've been to Cuba. I've been to Central America 3 times. I'm an activist, and so you don't see what's going on unless you get to see the poor people and the people who are associated with non-governmental organizations. Thank you.
That's Don Scott, and Don, thanks a lot for coming down.
You're welcome. I'm glad.
You helped break the ice for us with the citizenry, and come back again and encourage other people to come down and use the open mic on Monday nights.
Thank you.
Thanks for your thoughts. And next up is a young man named, what is his name? Andy Thorgerson, and he does a monthly show which no one has been able to quite figure out yet, but they like it anyway. Andy, come on out. Thanks.
Thanks, Mac. Just here to tell you a couple of little things here. On President's Day, February 17th, MCAT studios and audiences will be closed, or not audiences, studios and offices will be closed because of President's Day. But I'm here to tell you about one show, or 2 shows in particular, that are going to be on that day. One is called Miller Creek Madness, which is a 20-minute documentary followed by a live call-in on the proposed Miller Creek subdivision. Brings up issues of growth management planning, citizen involvement, and implications of the new development in on all Missoula residents. And then at 8:30 p.m., Gut Instincts of July 27th, 1996. This was a comedy improv group that was in town for several years, and it's their final performance, and it's really funny, and you should call in or tune in and see that one. And this Wednesday is Collective Effort, February 5th at 7 p.m. here on the channel. That should be quite exciting. I'd also like to thank the city for quickly filling in those potholes on our streets. The streets around town, if anybody's been driving, are pretty bad, and I'd like to encourage the city to keep that up. That's very nice of them. And also, I really hurt a friend of mine this weekend by the name of Sarah, and I'd like to publicly apologize to her. Thanks, Mac.
Wow. You've heard it all, folks. A public apology going all over the city. That's great. What a man. What a man. Andy, all right. Moving along real quickly. I was up at the legislature last week with some MCAT equipment, which all of you citizens of Missoula are invited to train on and check out. I went up with the help of an excellent camera woman, Gwen Hoppy, and we did a couple of days of videotaping and interviewing the Secretary of State, Mike Cooney, Vicky Cacciarella, the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, some lobbyists. We got some good color. That should be on 9 o'clock this Thursday night. It runs about an hour. And I think you might find some of it very interesting. I think the thing that I was most disturbed by in this visit to the legislature was the hearings about laws and the tiny cramped rooms that citizens and lobbyists are jammed into. And if you don't have one of those big flashy lobbyist badges on you and a $400 suit, you kind of get gavelled out of the room like I did. It was very interesting. I mean, these people have got to expand these hearing rooms and provide more opportunity and time for citizens to have their speak. Public television in Missoula just recently opened up, I guess officially a week. It's been on more or less for a month or so. And, a colleague was remarking that she was filling out a check to go to Montana Public Television and, to give them help. They're always looking for money. And then she stopped and she didn't finish writing out the check because the check was going to go to Bozeman because Bozeman was going to run the money as well as the programming. So we're waiting for the University of Montana to show some assertiveness in there in collecting money as long as they're going to have it and spend it and make some decisions. I was at the Marine Recruiting Station in Missoula today. I met with Master Sergeant P.M. Bruce, or Bruce, B-R-U-S-E, and I guess I'm too old to be a recruit to the Marines, but I told him and his colleague that I was quite disturbed because I sometimes chat with young people who are considering joining the military, and I was in the military and I had some good experiences. I was fortunate. But this weekend I awakened out of a terrible nightmare in which I was about to be tortured miserably. And there's a picture, a lot of you saw it on CNN video, and then here's a picture from the New York Times of one of the Marine recruits who is having one of those medals, MEDAL, pushed forcibly into his skin directly by another one of these noble Marines. And I was disturbed and disgusted, and I did have a nightmare about it, and I decided I'd just go out to the recruiting office and suggest to these recruiters that they check with their bosses in Washington, and so that they're able to assure young men and young women from Montana who come to their recruiting office as to the kinds of behavior that they can expect when they get to Camp Lejeune or basic training. What an outrage. What an outrage. This is disgusting. And it's about time. I mean, how many years must we hear about the abuse of the military? It's just sad. I got some financial figures when I was in Helena. KUFM radio in 1996, the legislature spent $175,365 on KUFM radio, according to the Legislative Fiscal Office, and that's in addition to the almost $250,000 that we as citizen donators donated to the support of the station. But what I can't figure out is that as the budgets go up for KUFM radio, the amount of local news that we get goes down. Whereas 10 years ago, we used to get half an hour of news in the morning on public radio and a half hour in the evening, and those, while some news reports were duplicated, each show was an original show. There were long feature interviews and stories from all parts of the state. We don't get anything, it seems, anymore, with the exception now the legislature's in session. There's a reporter up there, a woman doing a pretty competent job. The rest of it is murder and mayhem. I find out who got killed in one-car rollovers in eastern Montana. We got to have some improvement there, folks. And let's see. Don't forget, this is your show. This is your show. And we want you to come on down and take advantage of it. It's Monday night, 6:30. You just walk in like Donald Scott did. We've got 2 minutes left. And let's see here. Here's a letter from Connie Poten. Connie Poten, P-O-T-E-N, in Missoula. Disregard the whiners, rebuild the Roxy. Thanks for Connie for letting me use your letter to the Missoulian. The Roxy Theater will return no matter how its commercial neighbors bray and huff. The City Council can and should expand the Central Business District to include the vibrant Higgins area south of the bridge, allowing the Roxy to rise again among the asses. If everyone were as uncooperative and spiteful as those who whine about parking and litter, we wouldn't have a Blackfoot recreational corridor, the Wildlife Film Festival, Farmers Market, live theater at the Crystal, live music at the Wilma, or Caras Park's Out to Lunch program. Bob Sias has brought such vision to Missoula and done so much for our life over the decades that the complainants seem petty indeed by contrast. They apparently can't see how the glorious new Roxy will enhance their area and their cash registers. A letter from Connie Poten from Missoula. We're just about out of time, I'm told, by some finger waving. Is that right? So we'll say goodnight for Missoula's MCAT's Open Mic every Monday night. Come on down. First Amendment, say what you please, say what you will. Come on down and make your announcements. Thanks a lot for listening and watching. Tune in again next Monday night. Thanks. Bye.
Good evening, and welcome to the Open Mic program live on this Monday, the 10th of February, 1997. My name's Randy Ammon. I am Executive Director down here at MCAT, Missoula Community Access Television, and as Executive Director, I'm one of a small but dedicated group of staff people whose job it is to facilitate your messages. We provide the training, we provide access to the equipment and access to this cable channel for you to exercise your First Amendment rights, for you to share messages with neighbors, show off a hobby, talk about things of interest to you. We're going to be going live to the Missoula City Council meeting at 6:50 tonight, or if you're watching the replay of this show on Tuesday morning, the replay of the council meeting starts at 12 noon here on MCAT. We do have some other speakers, but till they get in here, let me run over a couple of things that are happening on the MCAT schedule this week. These schedules are available down here at the MCAT studio and office, and we're at the corner of Spruce and Higgins in the Circle Square building, downstairs. Live City Council meeting tonight at 6:50 p.m., and that's live every Monday night unless there's a holiday, like next Monday will be President's Day, or unless it's the 5th Monday of the month. All the other Mondays have regular Missoula City Council meetings, and MCAT's their live gavel to gavel. On Tuesday, February 11th, we're live for the monthly meeting of the Missoula County Public School Board, and that again is an open-ended meeting. As long as the meeting is underway, you can see the proceedings live here on MCAT. And the replay of that meeting will be Wednesday, starting at 2 in the afternoon. The 1996 International Wildlife Film Festival keynote address with Nancy Pearlman will be running again this week, Tuesday evening at 10:30 p.m., and Nancy is the executive producer of Educational Communications. This program examines worldwide wildlife issues at last year's International Wildlife Film Festival. There's some programming from the Northwest Coalition Against Malicious Harassment conference that was held in Spokane in October, and some of this ran on Martin Luther King Day. The opening keynote with Dr. Robert L. Jeffrey will be running this Wednesday at 11 a.m. and again Thursday at 5 p.m. And the keynote lecture by Lei Monhua, the Chinese-American filmmaker, will run at 7 p.m. Wednesday and again Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon. A couple of quick Valentine's program announcements. St. Valentine's Day Massacre runs Wednesday night or early Thursday morning at 1 a.m. Tongue-in-cheek love S&M songs, viewer discretion advised. And How I Finally Lost My Heart will immediately follow that at 1:05 a.m. Production by Temmie Rose. Again, viewer discretion advised. The Your Environment series, presented by Missoulians for Clean Environment, is every Thursday night at 6 p.m. And Under the Copper Dome is a series that's live, that premieres Thursday nights at 9 p.m. and is replayed then again on Friday at 5 in the afternoon. And let's see here. On this coming Sunday, let's see. We kick off the Sunday Cablecast Day on this channel at 5 p.m. with Destination Relaxation. 15 minutes of relaxation, meditation, communication with cosmic therapist Swami Allah Hamoud. At 5:30 every Sunday, it's the Missoula Catholic Community Sunday Mass. And normally the replays of the Mass take place on Mondays here at MCAT. Next week, though, with the President's Day holiday, the replay of the Catholic Community Mass will be Wednesday at 5 p.m. The normal series program scheduled for Mondays will be running on Tuesday next week, again because of the President's Day holiday. And we have some special programming running the evening, Monday evening, and I'll talk more about that later in this program if time permits. Open Mic is a weekly program that's designed to be kind of a microcosm of what MCAT is all about. This First Amendment Forum. We have these cameras fired up, this mic, test 1, 2, working, lights on, and the podium is yours, the public. And speaking of the public, here looks like McCarthy Coyle. Come on in, Mac, and it's your mic.
Hey, thanks, Randy. I was up in Helena today, and I had to impound the governor. Literally, I grabbed him hand by hand because there's a seat open on the Board of Regents for the university system. And all of a sudden, I'm reading this article last Saturday in the newspaper which said that the potential candidates for this seat, one of the most powerful positions in this state, if you wish it to be, or if you don't want to do anything, it's a great place to sleep for about 7 years. But the article said that the list had been narrowed to 4. And the only trouble with the article was it didn't indicate who the 4 people were. So I went up to Helena today, and I got sent to the lieutenant governor's office, and a young man said to me, well, gee, we can't be giving out that information. And I said, wait a minute, wait right here, and I'll be back. Well, it was about a 10-minute wait, but I came back with the governor, because I said to the governor, what's the story? Don't we have an open meeting law here? Who are your nominees? So he walked back with me to the young staffer, and I got the information. So the four nominees that will eventually be won include, they're all of GOP affiliation. That partly has to do with the state law. Jeanette McKee from Hamilton, former legislator. Mr. Ratsburg, I'm going from memory now, who is from, I better grab my papers. There's one man from Big Fork and one man from Polson, and then Missoula's own Arlene Broom, B-R-E-U-M. And I've been extending an invitation to each of the four of those people to come in and be interviewed on the live show this Thursday night. They'll be interviewed by the governor on Saturday, and it remains unclear whether these interviews, quote, are open to the public or whether they can be recorded by public radio or public television. And that's an interesting question. If you think that these are not ordinary personnel matters, these are matters of state. This is a position on the Regents which basically controls higher education, multi-million-dollar budgets, bonds, land disputes. They're going to be appearing before the Supreme Court soon in a major controversy. This is an important job, and some people who have held it have fallen asleep at the wheel. So whether these folks, any of them, are able to show up on our show Thursday night at 9 o'clock, I don't know. But I think that their meetings with the governors should be broadcast on public radio or public television directly. And an interesting letter that I spotted in the paper recently, bow hunting idea has potential. Written, the letter writer, it appeared in the Missoulian, was Craig Mentier of Missoula, actor, performer, writer, friend. But that's my conflict of interest. But here's Craig's letter under the headline, Bow Hunting Idea Has Potential. After reading the suggestions, ideas, and ruminations of various public officials and bureaucrats on the transient problem and the urban deer problem in Missoula, I was thunderstruck by a simple quick fix solution to both problems. Urban transient bow hunting. Bow hunting of urban transients and the subsequent transfer of deer to Caras Park. Imagine, deer are much more benign than drunken tramps. Even though deer would still beg for handouts, as the transients are known to do, they would seek only food, and this problem could be solved by planting more of their favorite urban diet, iris, tulips, and assorted ornamentals. Plus, we are used to seeing them exposed. The deer would also fit in nicely with the animal theme, bronze fish, concrete kitten, wooden horses that we have embraced downtown. And because deer don't require social services, they would not put on any strain on an already overtaxed and underfunded system. As for the transients, admittedly, they wouldn't provide as great a challenge to the sportsmen as deer, but pride in doing community service would more than make up for the level of sport. The transient population, like deer during general hunting season, would become more wary and consequently less visible during transient bow hunting season, which would run during prime park months. And nice piece of work and irony there by Craig Mentier. Thanks for letting us share that. And we got somebody else waiting to get hot here. A short bit here from a camera woman. Come on in.
I was just wondering, maybe it's my imagination, but I can't even see the Wilma building from probably downtown, and I don't hear anything about Stage 1 air alerts anymore. I don't know if they're just not hitting front page or what, but I think it's pretty bad, and we don't hear anything about it anymore. So it's like, is it okay now, or what's being done? Do they turn down the mill on those days that were, it's really bad air? Anyway, that's just all I'm wondering.
Well, let me jump in on this
Yeah.
little conversation. Because that is making me think of this legislator's effort to where companies would audit their own environmental records, and that even though they were doing something bad, as long as they filed it in a report to the state, nothing would happen to them. They would just promise to be better later. I think that's the idea.
Right.
So
I'm not for that.
It's somehow connected to with what you're talking about, a kind of disregard for the environment. I mean, where's all that $30 million that Missoula was getting, right? I mean, I know that some valuable studies are being done from what I hear and efforts being made, but I said, how come there's no big sign put up at the malfunction junction that says, shut your engine down, while you're waiting for the light, because it's like 3 minutes.
Oh, they say that it's worse to
That's
shut
what
it
I
down.
heard, but I don't know whether I believe that or not.
Oh.
I'm more worried about getting undulant fever from buffalo. I
Oh.
mean, I noticed that that's part of the latest parlance now. I mean, I didn't know about that I could get undulant fever. But while you're here, I just want to say one thing, and I want to see the Plum Creek deal stinks on dry ice, as my old man would have said. That thing reeks of scandal and ripping up this state like nothing I've ever seen before, and tied in with that New World Mine project. What the heck is this with the federal government having to come up with X millions of dollars, and we'll trade you this and that and the other thing? They can just go home.
When's that going to stop?
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
and they present it as this, this very concise, commonsensical idea. Oh yeah, we'll go out and trade you half of the state of Montana, and then we won't have that gold mine near Yellowstone. I mean, these United States senators that we have and governor of this state, we're still relying on a federal mining law that's 100 years old.
I need a gold mine.
Uh,
I'll get a nice spread of land somewhere out of the deal.
Anyway, Gwen,
Okay,
I'm glad
thank
you. Wait, don't leave me. I don't want to
okay.
leave alone because we're shutting down here in about a minute and or a couple of minutes. We'll get the wave here, but let's see.
Well, I'm going to call the air pollution people tomorrow. It's on my list.
Good.
The local air pollution.
Good. I called. Who did I call? Oh, there was a Crime Stoppers number I have for the governor's 800 number, by the way, is 1-800-332-2272. 1-800-332-2272. By the way, those operators are great because at least they'll give you any number that you want, like if you're trying to get a bureaucrat, in some department and you don't know who it is. They're really good. They're really good workers, and they give it. But they will put you through to the governor's office. So if you think his interviews with these regent positions or anything else that you want to say, call the 800 number and ask for the governor's office, and then you'll get, a staffer. Andy,
Thanks,
what do you got?
McCarthy.
We have just a couple seconds left. I'd
Yep.
just like to say, I'd just like to do a plug for a show I edited and produced and whatnot. It's on President's Day, the 17th, 18th? 17th at 8:30 p.m.
What
It's
day of
really
the week?
funny. That's a President's Day on Tuesday? Monday, President's Day.
Monday at
8:30 p.m.
Monday at 8:30.
Yeah, it's a
Your
great
show.
No, well, I did it.
Okay,
It's not really
good.
my show.
All right, everybody's.
You're on your
We
own.
want more people down here. Come on down.
Well, speaking of Monday, President's Day, there's a very special program here. All the programs here are special, but at 7 p.m. next Monday evening, Miller Creek Madness. There's a videotape documentary followed by live call-in on the proposed Miller Creek subdivision. Brings up issues on growth management, planning, citizen involvement, and the implications of new development on all Missoula residents. Tune in for that. Call in. Stay tuned now for Missoula City Council. Thanks. We'll also be cutting back to City Hall a little before schedule today to test the video signal. Coming up next is the live Missoula City Council meeting. That's live Monday night, and the replay is following this replay on Tuesday at 12 noon. But before we get into the MCAT schedule for the rest of the week, we do have a speaker from the public, and I'll step back and let you come in and welcome.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Stevens from the Missoula Neighborhood Council's Planning Committee. I'd like to announce 2 public meetings to discuss the proposals that our committee has developed to date. Those meetings will be Tuesday, March 6th from 7 to 9:30 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church on East Main Street, and Saturday, March 8th from 2 to 4:30 p.m. also at the First United Methodist Church. We need your help to make neighborhood councils a success in Missoula, so please join us for one or both of these meetings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And there was a live call-in program on MCAT last night dealing with the neighborhood councils. That was hosted by McCarthy Coyle and featured Sue Silverberg and John Torma. That program will be replayed this week right here on MCAT Wednesday at 3 o'clock p.m. Program on the neighborhood councils, even though the program schedule says Game of the Week. Stacey Edwards gave up his replay slot for high school basketball to run more information about the neighborhood councils. Speaking of the MCAT schedule, let's see here. We had a series premiere earlier today, a program called Adventures in Bible Land. It's children's programming with the puppets Creflo and Patty, produced by Jay and Jan Wagner and Friends. And that program runs Mondays at 3:30 p.m. with a replay Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. We mentioned the Missoula City Council meeting every Monday night live starting at 6:50 p.m. with the replays Tuesdays at 12 noon. Some other Tuesday evening programming here in MCAT. The high school hour is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eye on Rattlesnake at 8 p.m. is put together by students at Rattlesnake Middle School. Miller Creek Madness, a very important program that was presented live a week ago, is being replayed this week, Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m. and again Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Miller Creek Madness, it was a program, a live call-in, all about the proposed Miller Creek development. And the phone lines were hot that night, lots of good information presented. Let's see, there's a program called Evie O'Leary Presents Craniosacral Therapy for Infants. That ran Sunday night, and it's being replayed Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. this week. All of these programs are right here on Missoula Community Access Television. What you're watching now, Channel 7 on the TCI cable system, Channel 13 up in the Rattlesnake on Fibervision, and hopefully, any day now, Channel 8, I believe, in Grant Creek on the Charter Communications Premier cable system. We'll talk about some programs, some other programs later in this program if time permits. But while we're waiting for other speakers to come in, let me tell you about one thing that's happening down here at Missoula Community Access Television, and that is recruitment for Board of Director members. The directors of MCAT meet the second Wednesday of every month down here at 6:30 p.m. usually. Those meetings are open to the public. We have a 15-member board of directors here at MCAT, and it's very much a working board. It's a very diverse group of people, lots of different backgrounds and different areas of expertise, and they do great work. You know, volunteers make this station go. We have a very small staff, and 15 of our terrific volunteers make up our board of directors. If you're interested in more information, or if you'd like to fill out an application for appointment for the MCAT board, give us a call down here at 542-MCAT, which is 542-6228, and if you can, stop down here. Our open hours, our drop-in hours are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday, and staff is here quite a bit beyond those hours. So give us a call. Okay, let's see, some other special events coming up here for our producers. Oh, there is a basic orientation and basic Porta-Pack workshop this week. That's Tuesday evening, February 25th, starting at 5:30 p.m. And that's a combination of an orientation, which is a prerequisite to all producer involvement down here. We cover the MCAT handbook, policies, procedures, let you know the very few things you can't do or an MCAT, or we ask you not to do, and explore some of the possibilities of things you can do down here. That's combined with a basic Porta-Pack workshop. We have two standard Porta-Packs we send out. Porta-Pack consisting of a Super VHS chip camcorder, tripod, accessory bag, microphones, cables, and whatnot. And that's the way most producers get started down here, by attending the workshop and the orientation, then checking out this basic MCAT equipment, going out and shooting their own programs. After that, they bring tapes in, and we're glad to teach folks the editing in the edit rooms, the various levels of production equipment we have. If you are interested in this workshop, give us a call, 542-6228. And these workshops are at least once a month, so do give us a call. If you have a program on videotape that you'd like to run down here at MCAT, give us a call also. Some standard paperwork. We'll get the program scheduled. We do schedule approximately 3 weeks in advance these days, so the more lead time you can give us, the better it works out for everyone. This is Open Mic. We're still live on Monday, the 24th of February. A couple of special workshops coming up. A lighting workshop. Portable lights and our new studio lights will be explained in detail by Scott Ashelman, an MCAT producer who works at KECI, our NBC affiliate as well. He's a good guy and a terrific producer, and he knows his lights. So the lighting workshop will be Thursday, March 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. here at the MCAT studio. Again, give us a call at 542-MCAT if that sounds of interest to you. And our annual Producers Showcase. We have terrific volunteer producers down here at MCAT doing many, many programs each week. And once a year we have a showcase for the producers. So the 7th annual MCAT Producers Showcase is coming up on Wednesday, March 12th, 7:30 to 9 p.m. And that directly follows the next MCAT board meeting, which is Wednesday, March 12th at 6:30 p.m. Good stuff, and again, lots of diversity, lots of different folks and different programs. Well, why don't I switch places now with our director and audio person and cablecaster right now is one of our assistant directors down here at MCAT, who shares the job with Lori Hudak, Mary Canty, and some items of information. Come on in, Mary.
Thanks, Randy. Ms. Randy mentioned to you that MCAT is open to you to come down and learn what you can about television production, about community events, and we certainly learn a lot about each other down here at MCAT, and we'd like to have you join that. I think what I'm going to talk about here, it's interesting to me to note that we all started in the same place. We all started as students of television, as students of telecommunications, and we all went on with it and developed it into our own craft. And one of the things that I've been able to do, and MCAT certainly has furthered my technical skills, but early on as a producer I was able to work on the KROS Tools Montana video series. And on February 7th in the Missoulian Entertainer, in the Copycat column, the Copycat Fellows ran an article about what a great teacher KROS Tool was. And I just had a chance today for the first time to sit down and respond to that, and I'm going to read that out loud. You're wondering where the tool tapes are? Well, they're in schools, libraries, and homes all over Montana. We thought KROS Tool was such a great teacher. In the spring of 1981, we put him on tape. With funds from the Montana Committee for the Humanities, we videotaped his final lecture series and edited them into a 20-part video and audio series called K-Ross Tools Montana. Money from tape sales helps keep MQTV alive. MQTV is Montanans for Quality Television, a nonprofit clearinghouse for Montana media. Our latest production is Bella Vista, a half-hour, award-winning documentary on the Italian internment camp at Fort Missoula during World War II. Bella Vista was co-produced with KSPS Public Television in Spokane and has been seen on dozens of public television systems nationwide. KUSM-TV, Montana Public Television, based at MSU in Bozeman, has not exercised its option to broadcast this fine program. Why, we ask? Independent producers bring quality people and ideas to television and radio and need the support from public broadcasting to continue to do so. Will Missoula's brand new KUFM-TV co-produce and broadcast independent productions? We hope so. MQTV offers the best of Montana media created by independent producers through the Montana Media Catalog. The catalog contains 33 titles, including the Tool tapes, both digitized audio and video sets, Bella Vista, Heartland, Coyote and the Monster of the Clearwater, and many other great programs. This is a free catalog, and you can order it through MQTV at 251-5474 or write P.O. Box 8355, Missoula, Montana 59807. There's a P.S. here, and it's an important P.S. because it's the reason I'm standing before you tonight live on television. It should be noted that many of the people who worked on the Tool series and other productions also helped organize Missoula Community Access Television and continue to be media activists on many telecommunications issues. You see, K. Ross Toole was a fine teacher, and he taught us well. And what he taught us was that there's a huge price to be paid for passivity in Montana, whereas as individual people and as activists, we can get a lot done. So please feel free to come down and put your message where you've heard and seen mine tonight. Open mic is available to the public. It's as simple as walking through the door that you see on my left and your right. And it's as simple as coming down just before City Council to our open mic and accepting our invitation to be part of the community discussion. So I think that we'll be wrapping things up tonight. I'll turn things back over to Randy for conclusion, and thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Well said. You are watching Missoula Community Access Television, MCAT. My name's Randy Ammon. I spent the weekend in Pocatello, Idaho, where the local Community Access TV channel celebrated its 20th anniversary. Started up in 1977. I had the privilege to work there for 7.5 years during the decade of the 80s, and its Pocatello Vision 12 has been a terrific success. Here in Missoula, MCAT is coming up on its 7th anniversary of training and programming produced by the community. That will be happening this coming April. Watch this space for party information. And all I can say is that we've already trained more than 2,500 Missoulians in basic TV production down here, which is probably more than the folks in Pocatello trained in 20 years' time. Missoula has been a great community for MCAT, and we hope vice versa. So again, if you are interested in producing your own programming here on MCAT, well, very simply, you could come in Mondays at this time, between 6:30 and 6:50, get in front of the mic and speak your piece. If you'd like to produce your own programs using the full gamut of video production equipment down here, come to one of the workshops, and the next one is this week, Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Give us a call at 542-6228. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up here with the open mic program. We're going to try a test from Missoula City Council chambers. Stay tuned for the Missoula City Council meeting. And with that, thanks for tuning in. MCAT's your channel. Use it well. Thanks.
McCarthy. My mother's family name. My name is McCarthy Coyle. I move around town a lot. I'm an independent journalist, and this is Free Speech Night at Missoula Community Access Television. It's MCAT. Anyone is encouraged to come down and use this microphone. It's 6:30 every Monday night. You get to say what you want to say. You don't need an appointment. You don't need to call ahead. Just come on down. We're at Spruce and Higgins. You come in the Spruce Street entrance and say your speak. That's what this show is all about. And bring your friends and neighbors, or you can bring your birth announcements, or you can share whatever you like to share. We've got like yourselves, and my friends. Unnerved by the death of a young woman in a place up Blue Mountain that is treasured by many of us, and it is a familiar place. And there's right now I just get a sense of confusion and upsetness from my friends and family here. No answer, just confusion. You'll recall that to get a little bit serious now, the governor of Montana.
Excuse me, Mac, before
Yeah.
you go any further,
I'm
let
sorry.
me just do this real quick.
All right, thank you.
This is just technical problems there.
Andy here for on staff of MCAT
Thanks, Mac.
to
You're doing a
assist
great
us.
job.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks. I had the good fortune to be a guest on Andy's comedy show the other night, and I had a great time. I didn't have to be serious. Thanks for your help. And a couple of weeks, well, just the other day, the governor of the state of Montana appointed a new regent to the Board of Regents. This governor, Mark Roscoe, is violated the Montana Constitution when he held closed meetings with the 4 finalists that apparently he had chosen to interview for joining the Board of Regents. There was one vacancy. And I had been stonewalled by the governor and his staff for 4 days after my original fax to them asking whether the interviews were to be open to the public or closed to the public or partly open or partly closed, or whether, which people can do, they can even waive their right to privacy. In any event, these meetings were held in private in violation of the Montana Constitution, and it's very difficult as a citizen and as an independent journalist to wrestle with these problems, especially when you're working on your own. Although I never am working alone when I'm getting any help down at MCAT. But anyway, there's a group of attorneys in Helena. The firm is known as Reynolds, Model, and Sherwood. And they assist the Montana Freedom of Information Hotline, a project sponsored by a coalition of media and press agencies in the state of Montana to ensure the public's access to governmental operations and information guaranteed by the Constitution. This governor violated the Constitution, as I said, 2 weeks ago when he held interviews, closed interviews. So the lawyers representing the Freedom of Information Hotline have written to Governor Roscoe, dated February 27th, at the request of myself and Ian Marquand of the Montana chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists. In the letter that I had received from one of the governor's staff, and he was speaking for the governor, Mr. Malcolm stated that the regent's interviews are confidential as part of the state government's personnel policies, as have been determined in past court cases involving university personnel matters. The lawyers go on to say, we respectfully disagree with your office's assessment of the applicant's right to privacy in this instance. Article 2, Section 9 of the Montana Constitution grants all of us, the word here is individuals, the fundamental right to know, quote, no person shall be deprived of the right to examine documents or to observe the deliberations of all public bodies or agencies of state government or its subdivisions, except in cases in which the demand of individual privacy clearly exceeds the merits of public disclosure. There's a lot of very clear and lucid, the letter is a long one, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. You may find that you'll be able to hear more about this on Thursday, when I have my regularly scheduled program at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10. And you'll recall that it was through with the assistance of Missoula Community Access Television equipment and facilities that it was myself and working with MCAT was able to reveal the names of the 4 candidates for regents in the first place, which had not been published in the press, and which we had kind of had to wrestle out of the state capitol building here. But the lawyers are basically, the lawyers in this case, on behalf of journalists and the Society of Professional Journalists, they are, this is their quote to the governor in the letter that the governor has. Our requests to you are twofold. First, we respectfully request that you withdraw your appointment of Mr. Jasmine, that's Edwin Jasmine, withdraw your appointment of Mr. Jasmine to the Board of Regents pending public interviews of all of the candidates. And then they go on in their letter to the governor. Second, please send me copies of all application materials for each candidate, including any correspondence between your office and each candidate, as well as a list of the questions asked to each candidate at the interviews. Signed, David K. W. Wilson, Jr., for the Montana Freedom of Information Hotline. Folks, I don't know where you are on this, but being a regent in this state is one of the most significant positions in public life that you can hold. It's a constitutional position. It is not a job. You don't get paid a salary for being a regent. You're running a system of schooling worth billions of dollars with radio stations and television stations and students everywhere. And this law firm also calls attention to the fact that in any event, since the governor apparently only received 7 letters of inquiry about the position in the first place, that the governor had not even done a proper job of soliciting letters from, I know 10 people in western Montana that had they known or been encouraged to look into the matter of writing a letter to the governor expressing their interest in being a regent. So the governor has also failed on a second major count. He has failed, and his office has failed to inform the public in reasonably good time that there was a vacancy on this major constitutional Board of Regents. And he violated the Constitution on a second count there. So we have to be very careful. We have a reputation in the state of, an open meeting law, all records public, and I think it's. I'm delighted to have some lawyers who have understood the significance of this matter in this case, and are working on our behalf. To secure the fullest and most open information possible. It is beyond belief. It is beyond my belief that a governor appointing a regent in the state of Montana would refuse to conduct these interviews in public. I mean, what is the problem? Is there something that I'm not supposed to know? Is it something that I'm not intelligent enough to understand? The governor has violated the Constitution. And these lawyers in Helena have asked that this appointment of Mr. Jasmine of the Regents be withdrawn until such time as public interviews are held at a minimum. And so I think that one of the reasons why there's been some interest in this case in particular is because many observers have seen the open meeting spirit and law in the state of Montana frittered away a little bit. And people are not being kept informed. And I'm just going to, Randy Ammon, the executive director of Missoula Community Access Television, did want to step along, but Diane, can you see this? Can you see this photo? Thank you. This is an essay of my own that appeared in the San Francisco Examiner, and then went on to the New York Times newswire that carries, journalist essays and news stories across the country. And this was published in many papers around the nation, Riverside Press Enterprise in California, the Miami Herald down in Florida. But although the newspapers in Montana do get the New York Times wire service, this essay was never published in Montana, and we'll talk more about that on Thursday because it did get me in some trouble with the Committee for the Humanities, the Montana Committee for the Humanities, and I'm probably not on the governor's good boy list since this was published last year. Thank you. Randy?
Thanks, McCarthy. My name's Randy Ammon. I'm on staff down here at Missoula Community Access Television, and you are watching Open Mic live for this Monday, March the 3rd, 1997. We got some real sad news down here a couple of hours ago. One of MCAT's members of the board of directors and also a terrific producer, a documentary producer, Susan Jamerson, has had a death in the family, and we send down our sympathy. We send down our wishes for Susan. Let's see, coming up on MCAT immediately following this program is the Missoula City Council meeting. That's live from City Council chambers, which is just down Spruce Street here about a block. Live gavel-to-gavel coverage starts Mondays at 6:50 p.m. and ends when that final gavel is brought down. The replay of the council meeting is Tuesday at 12 noon, coincidentally following the replay of this open mic program. Some other first-run programs we should mention briefly here. Let's see, we have lots and lots of series being produced, and Tuesday premieres include Draw Your Swords at 6 o'clock p.m. That's Bible teaching with Jan Wagner. The high school hour at 7 p.m. is produced by students in the Artist in Schools projects at Missoula's 3 public high schools. Almost a Whisper, Tuesday at 8 p.m., is a brief love story between teenagers produced by Tobin Addington. Almost a Whisper replays later this week, Friday at 11:15 a.m. A program called Vanishing Jobs runs Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. and again Wednesday at 2:45 p.m. It's about American jobs going to Mexico through NAFTA and GATT, G-A-T-T. And His Hands is a monthly video newsletter that premieres Tuesday of this week at 10:30 p.m. with a replay Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. This MCAT program schedule is yours for the taking. Stop down here at the MCAT studio at Spruce and Higgins. Our official drop-in hours when these doors are unlocked and staff is always here are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekdays. Give us a call, though, because Staff and volunteer producers are here plenty of other times during the week. Most of the work here takes place by volunteers outside of those hours. A couple special events coming up having to do with Missoula Community Access Television. Next week, or on Wednesday, March the 12th, there's an abbreviated monthly MCAT board meeting that starts at 6:30 p.m., and that's immediately followed by the 7th Annual Producers Showcase. Wednesday, March 12th, 7:30 p.m. till at least 9 p.m. here at the MCAT studio. It's a time when MCAT producers share with other producers and interested community members their productions. This is a unique channel in that MCAT doesn't have a staff or board that sits down and tries to figure out what Missoula should be watching. We literally open the doors and the community programs this channel with a combination of government programming, local educational programming, and public access programming. The only requirements of which are that it be non-commercial and not contain speech unprotected by the First Amendment. True community television. It works pretty well. In any event, with the Producers Showcase, if you have work that you'd like to show, give Lori a call down here at 542 MCAT. If you'd like to see some of the good stuff that producers are working on, just come on down Wednesday, March 12th at 7:30 p.m. Later this month, there's a lighting workshop with Scott Ashelman. That's Thursday, March 27th, 1997, a 6 to 8 p.m. slot. And our basic orientation and standard Portapack training for this month is Tuesday, March 25th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. If you'd like to get involved with MCAT, like to produce your own programming, that's the best way to get involved. Give us a call again at 542 MCAT, and we'll sign you up for the free orientation and the very, very low-cost Portapack training. A couple of public service announcements here in our closing moments. And McCarthy, do you have other things here? Diane?
You're on.
If the public doesn't come in, that may be coming in now. Couple faxed public service announcements that have not yet made it onto our message board. Let's see. Lewis and Clark, Montana's first frontier physicians. A presentation by Ronald V. Loge, MD. Takes place Wednesday of this week, Wednesday, March 5th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. at St. Pat's, Classroom 1 on the second floor of the Broadway building of St. Patrick's Hospital. March 8th, lecture program by Missoula collector historian Mark Kleffner on the bicycle, vehicle of social change. That's 2 p.m. at the Historical Museum at Fort Missoula, free admission, March 8th. And on Saturday of this week, March 8th, WEEL storms Helena. This rally is organized by WEEL, which is Working for Equality and Economic Liberation, and it's a response to proposed legislative cuts to assistance programs in the state of Montana. WEEL, I believe, is Montana's Poverty Rights Action Group. It's sponsoring this rally at the Capitol Rotunda from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as of now, they're looking for videographers, folks to tape over in Helena. If you're interested, give us a call here at MCAT, 542 MCAT, and we'll put you in touch with the right people there. One last announcement here. The University of Montana Department of Music presents the jazz bands on this Friday, March 7th, at 7:30 p.m. in the Wilma. For additional information, 243-6880. We're going to wrap things up here so we can get going with the Missoula City Council meeting. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for using MCAT, your community access television channel.
You bet. Thanks, man.
evening. I'm Mary Canty. I'm one of two assistant directors down here at Missoula Community Access Television. You've just tuned in this March 10th, Monday evening, to our program called Open Mic. And Open Mic is a free speech dialogue that we have with the community each Monday night before City Council at 6:30 p.m. We invite you to come down and share your viewpoint. As I mentioned, this is a free speech dialogue. Our only criteria is that you please not use obscenities or libel or slander anyone. I want to mention two upcoming events at MCAT that are open to the community. One is this coming Wednesday night, March 12th, 7:30 to 9 p.m. at the MCAT Studios, the studio that I'm standing in. It's the 7th Annual Producers Showcase, and that is a time when we ask folks who would like to show their videotapes to their peers to show some of their work and have a discussion about that work if they would like to, or just show their work and explain why they were motivated to do it. It's become an annual event because we really love it. It shows why we're excited about what it is that we do down here. And we get to see things, we get to see new techniques and new ideas that we can share without sitting down to a marathon television watching session. So I'd like to invite you to that, and that's this coming Wednesday night, the 12th at 7:30 p.m. The other thing that we've put together is I'm standing in a studio that has 3 new Theater Fresnel lights. Those are really nice studio lights, and we have needed to do this for a long time. We're going to have a professional work with us in a lighting workshop. That's Thursday, March 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the MCAT Studios once again. And we're going to work with Scott Ashleman, who is working right now as a commercial producer at KECI TV. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about studio lighting and like to participate in something at MCAT, that's also open to you. I'm going to turn the mic over now to a guest we have this evening, and then we'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm Donald Scott, and I'm an activist, a peace activist. And an activist, as you know, is somebody who's busy minding everybody's business but his own. Seriously, though, in this case, I think it's everyone's business to get the attention of Congress and the Senate of the United States in regard to the horrendous drain that the defense war industry is putting on this country. About 60 cents of every tax dollar you pay the government goes for the military budget. Eisenhower warned us of the military-industrial complex, but his warning may have been a little late. The military-industrial complex has been able to perpetuate itself by subjecting the public and our elected officials to a number of dubious techniques and arguments to persuade them to support huge military budgets. And here are a few. 1. Cultivate fear of foreign enemies. 2. Frightening workers that they will lose their jobs if the military spending is cut. 3. Instilling false pride in the U.S. global military leadership. Actually, we probably might be perceived as the world bully, especially with our recent history of the invasion of the tiny island of Grenada that was about to go communist, and the foray into Panama to capture the leader so they could put him in jail for drug trafficking, and the boldest foray of all, the Gulf War that was intended to bring down a despot. If that isn't enough, we have to be sneaky about some of our military efforts and turn it over to the CIA. CIA stands for Central Intelligence Agency, or maybe it stands for cover-up interfering again. Now the defense war industry has been so successful, they're moving out of the country with their manufacturing so they can make just a little bit more. General Electric is moving to Mexico so they can produce the same products that they produced in Hickory, North Carolina. Only there will be no union wages to pay, and the working conditions for the workers will be abominable. After feeding off the public trough, the war contracts in this country for over 50 years, and not having made enough millions, General Electric can make even more. Never mind that the people in North Carolina will be out of jobs and suffer from the lack of employment, or the Mexican paisano will be exploited. General Electric can make even more profits, and their stocks will continue to increase in value. The American people have fed this defense, war industry, and others like it for far too long. It's too bad that we can't sue for them taking our capital out of the country. We even risked the lives of our finest for these industries, and some of those valiant youth never came back. I do not buy GE products, and I do not own any GE stock or any other defense industry stock. Now maybe it's time for you to write your congressman and senator and the President of the United States. They didn't seem to get the message when you wrote them the last time. Don't you wonder why people are sleeping under bridges, living in cars, and their children going hungry? Don't you think this country can, if they can afford the military budget, don't you think they can afford to address these problems too? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Reminder that the microphone is open down here. Please feel free to come down and participate. I'm Mary Canty. I'm one of 2 assistant directors down here at Missoula Community Access Television. Diane, can you get a close-up of this shot? Can you give me a close-up of this? I want to show something that's going on down here at MCAT. Okay, give us a little focus. There you go. We have 3 media artists in the schools, Gwen Hoppy, Rick Phillips, and Joel Baird, who've worked with Missoula County high school students to put together a media art installation at the Missoula Museum of the Arts that opens April 4th, and I want to invite everybody to that. The opening will be from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., and it is open to the public. It starts at 2 p.m. so that we can make sure to get as many students and other Missoula youth involved in it. It's been a really wonderful creative collaboration between media artists, folks here at MCAT, and folks at the museum. And so you do have a special invitation to that, and we will be sending out invitations at the end of next week. Look for yours. The other thing that I want to mention is we at MCAT are looking for new members of our board of director. We have a 15-member board, and several people have recently gone off the board, and we would like to invite you to come down to MCAT and pick up a form, or just give us a call and we'll put this into the mail to you. We'll have some information that will come with this, like a couple of MCAT newsletters, some information about upcoming workshops. But if you're interested in working with a very diverse group of people and doing some hard work but fun work, I think it's a very engaging place to be. And I promise you that through your work at MCAT, you will run into the entire rainbow spectrum of Missoula. And that's another invitation we'd like to extend to you, that you could come here and meet all sorts of people, people who will, I promise you, surprise you that they live in your town. So that application for to become a member of the Board of Directors is due at MCAT on March 28th. And I would be glad to put that in the mail to you if you call us at 542-MCAT and ask us to put it in the mail or to talk to you about becoming a member of the MCAT Board of Directors. Okay, I think we have a short open mic tonight. One of the things that we want to do is invite folks who have written letters to the editor to come down and read those letters on the air. We just want to invite, well, we need to extend ourselves that way into the community. We haven't done that recently. So be looking in our next newsletter for an invitation to participate in this open forum this evening. And I think now we'll go to the MCAT PSA tape, and then in just a few minutes, at 10 minutes to 7, we'll tune in live to the City Council meeting. The next open mic will be next Monday evening, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. If you have a St. Patrick's Day message you would like to come down and share here at MCAT, again, you're welcome to come down and use this microphone every Monday night from 6:30 to 6:50 p.m. Thank you for your attention this evening, and come on down. My one-person fan club. My one-person fan club.